所以在这里头可以就是一个
对，说让你们有些好的兴趣，到底
有意思的。那你们是会关于自己实际的项目的数据的效果？
我们希望下一步可以。
理解，我之前在学的是什么比说，然后可能有这些拉死了，天配是早，比较早开始然后都比大的，然后再就是来说上一级应用的那个之后软件比较好的，然后可能那一个比较稍微多一点。然后我发现他们好像最近5年都开始转到一些 experiment 上，就有点像是你设计了一个内部之后。大家的反馈怎么样？如何实时上线跑实验，跟大家的反应？对，我就觉得，就是我也不知道为啥大家都开始有一些这种类似的，应该都是可能跟工作的。你是一几年？
不是。
你在跟这些 undergraduate，他们是你 potential students。我之前他们希望就是来搜索的，希望你们都来。是。这个我也迟一点啊，这个写不这样子，一般会迟到10分。然后你们会有什么样的先评呢？是？Pace。I guess. Information or intelligence information center. I guess speech. 给我一些，不好意思，很多是对我是之类。哦，对，我不是，只是问题。这只有上面汽车和应该是突然的吧，其他的不知道。
Yeah, maybe in 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay. So are you all undergrad, graduate student, PhD student? Undergrad, PhD or PhD? So, and that
Industrial and operations.
They are, that's nice. Yeah. So what kind of companies?
Postdoc at Canberra.
That's new. So you also have some, I mean, modeling with it.
Yeah, we want to.
I see. That's interesting. What kind of business? Here's the question. I mean. Yeah.
Okay, hi everyone. Maybe it's time to start. Well, Emerge. I'm Yi. I'm a PhD candidate in system engineering here at UC Berkeley, and I'm the organizer of Emerge. The weekly Emerge seminar is a dedicated platform for early career researchers to present research, refine ideas, and build up community among our peers. Today, we are very happy to have Dr. Cong Chen as our speaker. Cong Chen is an assistant professor at Dartmouth College. She was selected as a Stanford Energy Fellow in 2024 and she received her bachelor's degree from Wuhan University and master's degree from Tsinghua University before her receiving her PhD from Cornell University, all in electrical engineering. And Cong was an intern at ISO New England and has received multiple honors and recognitions, including Cornell ECE Outstanding PhD Thesis Award and Best Presentation Award at the PhD Dissertation Challenge during the IEEE EPS Great Technology Conference and Exposition, among other recognitions and honors. So today we are very excited to have Dr. Chen talk about her research on unlocking electricity demand flexibility with dynamic operating envelope market and AI agents. So without further delay, please join me in welcoming Dr. Chen for her presentation.
Thank you, Scott, for hosting this nice opportunity. And I'm very happy to got a chance to chat in person with all of you about my latest research progress. So my background is in electrical engineering. And later I finished a 1-year postdoc at the Stanford Graduate School of Business. So it's funded by the Stanford Energy Postdoc Fellowship. So my background is half engineering and also a mix of economics. And we have specific focus for the electricity market, energy market, how the power system is operated and how we come up with the pricing for the energy system. So now I'm an assistant professor at the Thayer School of Engineering in Dartmouth College. And before the presentation of this topic, I'll give a quick research overview of multiple projects I'm working on. And I will give more detail about this specific topic for the electricity demand side flexibility. So this is facing all the increasing electric vehicle. I know some of you are working on that, and also increasing rooftop solar, home battery, all those distributed resource. And we are thinking about include them with a dynamic operating envelope market. And I also start to use AI agent to try to understand all those energy customer behavior. I'll also give more explanation later for this topic. Okay, I'll just get started. So for the research overview, the first project I start at the very beginning of my PhD is the dispatch and the pricing under uncertainty. So we focus on the background of this dot curve. This is the total electricity demand in California minus solar. So we can see in the noon time, every year when we implement more and more solar in California, the curve is getting deeper and deeper. So in that way, this means traditional generator, they need to provide those kind of energy minus the solar power. So we can see from the sunset time, all the traditional generators need to ramp up very quickly to catch up the power that is originally supported by solar power in the system. So this is like the background. And the problem is like our electricity demand in California have very strong temporal correlation. We need to prepare some energy storage to charge when the solar is plenty and discharge at the nighttime. And we also need to prepare some generator to withhold some headroom so that those generators can increase dramatically during the sunset to catch up the power that is originally supported by some solar power. So this is like the trend of increasing temporal correlations in the energy system, energy demand. And the practice is we see since 2021, a lot of out of merit dispatch in this intertemporal correlation. This is mainly because in our current power system, we schedule everything in a multi-interval rolling window way. And we have imperfect forecasts over different horizons. We also have inconsistent price. When we do the forecast for the first rolling window and move forward, we may see the price get different. The dispatch may also get different. So many generator storage may be paid under their bidding cost. So we do a lot of compensation, a lot of price adjustment for this real-time rolling window dispatch. This idea is very close to model predictive control. So we try to forecast the load trajectory into the future and try to charge discharge battery ahead of time, try to generator ahead of time. But the drawback is like imperfect forecast, limited horizon, make this pricing scheme over multi-interval very challenging. And in my research here, we have multiple papers talking about how to price multi-interval dispatch. We propose a new pricing method also adopted by Met Power. that is a new tool, like they try to incorporate our pricing strategy in their software. And very exciting, this year I received the invite from California Independent System Operator to provide our pricing strategy to their stakeholder. So potentially to hear more industry feedback to see if this research can give more maybe give broader benefits to the society, to the people who are really facing this problem. This is a nice combination of industry application and also our research in campus. And the second topic I'm working on is the storage operation, especially the utility scale, large scale storage. And I focus specifically on the storage degradation cost, opportunity cost. Those kind of structure are usually strongly non-convex and very difficult to quantify. And in the power system, the largest challenges is sometimes we don't know what's the cost of storage. You may be able to say they have degradation cost, but they may also say, I discharge my battery for future price change, and those parties uncertain. We have opportunity cost. So all these part are making the storage cost model very complicated. And my contribution is I come up with a complexification condition. So I focus on specific bidding structure of their model of storage. And I propose a very simple condition to make the whole storage bidding cost model complex. And this is actually multiple publication focusing on how to actually understand the storage operating for charging, discharging bid. And can we make sure storage can bid a different price when their state of charge and energy level is different? And how to compute those kind of storage bidding costs more efficiently. So after I finish the complexification, the whole model is very easy to compute. And the storage can, we try to say, with this idea, we can incorporate more complicated storage cost structure in the power system operation. And the last topic I will focus more today is about the distributed energy resource. So DER, distributed energy resource, refers to resources like rooftop solar, electric vehicle, home battery, and heat pumps. So all those many massive resources distributed ubiquitous in our energy system. And we are thinking about how to schedule all those resources more flexibly. And we are also thinking about when we have multiple aggregation of those resources and the power system operation coordinate all together, how do we make sure they can interact and make sure the power network is stable? So I will give more detail about the framework and the idea here. And our latest progress is also trying to use AI agent to understand those energy customer. So this is a part I'm going to focus more today. And I received the 2025 IEEE Power and Energy Society Outstanding Doctor Dissertation Award. And my research of the AI agent part is also supported by Amazon Research Award to help us to better understand the power system research with the AI agent idea. Okay, so let me dive into the DER part. I draw a simple energy system, and we have all the energy generation resource, solar, wind, and these are all the demand, like a commercial, residential demand. And I'm focusing more on the rising distributed energy resource, all those rooftop solar, home battery. And a quick data in 2024, California's rooftop solar divided by the total electricity is 10%. It's purely just rooftop solar power. So we do see a lot of people have rooftop solar, and the EV increasing is also very obvious. And with IoT smart home, we can schedule all those energy much more flexibly. And in those traditional model, we try to build some cost minimization for energy customer. There are also some research doing air conditioner scheduling, try to say maximize customer comfort. So overall, many research here, we are trying to understand energy customer, but customer behavior, customer preference, human preference are very complicated and high dimension. So with the emerging trend of AI agent with large language model, we are thinking about, can we calibrate those large language model in a way to help us understand energy customer? So those kind of research has early starting stage from many economic researcher. They notice large language model is trained by so many human data, and are there any way we can use large language model to represent certain category of customer to help us understand better about the human preference? So this is the background for this part, to use AI agent to understand the customer preference. So some customer may say, I want to lower down my energy cost. Some customer may say, I want to avoid blackout. I want to have more energy reserve. And some customer may say, I prefer green power. So they have all those different preferences. And we want to see how to use AI agent to help us operate the smart system of the energy system. And this may even be helpful for the electricity pricing or energy policy. So this is the first topic. The second topic I'm going to talk about is the grid reliability. So we know all those home battery or EV, they are discharging, withdraw, inject power to the distribution grid. So when everybody inject or withdraw, how do we make sure the power grid can actually provide all those energy? And we have all those network security constraints, the voltage limits, the line thermal capacity limits, and we want to make sure we can accommodate all those resources. Specifically, we saw the increase in trend like Tesla, GM, Google, Ford, and Sunrun and Sunnet. They are all trying to set up their own DER project. So they are trying to build virtual power plant, aggregating massive rooftop solar together to provide energy to the power grid. But they need grid injection access, otherwise they cannot provide energy to the grid. How to make sure grid reliability in this case, it is one problem. And also we saw some company offer free home battery. So this is actually bi-direction power flow. They want to inject and withdraw simultaneously to the grid. Then how do we make sure we can operate all those systems with their resource in the grid? And also later we see the data center injection trend. I want to emphasize data center increase both in bigger transmission network and also in smaller distribution network with smaller distributed data center. So all of them are saying like they want the power grid access. They want to inject or withdraw power. But are there any way we can operate? Here, I specifically focus on the distribution grid of the grid reliability. This will be the second topic. And overall, those two topics together, I will focus to meet the rising demand via smart operation.
Related to those articles, those headlines, and continuing our lunch conversation. So in New Hampshire, well, in Vermont, the head of their electric utility used to be someone, Mary Powell, who I think is CEO. You've heard?
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you know, she did something in Vermont where she created some program where I think customers there got, I think it was Tesla Powerwalls for free, and they did a demand response thing. So I think locally where you are now, it turns out, at least in Vermont, there's a lot of home battery stores because of what Mary Powell did when she was in Vermont. She's now at Sumner.
Yeah, that's
So
nice.
so yeah, you should, when you talk to the guys in Vermont, like ask them about that.
Yeah, I'll try to catch up there. And I also talked to Dartmouth College engineering school faculty. They told me 10% of the faculty have rooftop solar, and some of them pair with heat pump and also home battery. Yeah, and there are some local company running that.
Yeah, I think there might be a strangely disproportionately large number of homes maybe in that region because of some of the people in leadership.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, that's maybe a good thing you're at Dartmouth if you can play with that.
Yeah, I think they are very excited about the problem. Thank you for your comments, yeah. So let me dive into detail for the first topic, the AI agent part, and then I'll explain more about the grid reliability for the DER injection later. So for the AI agent part for energy operation, is inspired by Park and Michael's research at Stanford. So when they build a system, it's more like a virtual village online, and they power all the small like a character with large language model. And their conclusion is like they observe the character have their daily like getting wake up and all those workflow. And they comment like they cannot distinguish whether these are actually some human player or virtual player's action. So this is the first time like many people got excited to see maybe we can have a human simulator and can we understand those human preference better. And for me, I focus more on the energy because we know like when we get up or we do cooking, we will have all those daily life routine, we have energy consumption associated with it. Then I'm thinking about how do we build an AI agent to understand the energy customer preference. But this is a very broad topic, and my exploration is more like very preliminary. So my presentation here more like to have a discussion. I hope to get some of your feedback to see where we can move forward from that. I do see some positive signal. for large language model to bring human behavior insight in energy operations. But we need to be more careful when we're using this tool in the practical energy operation. So I started with how to understand customer. So we have so many large language model and the massive customer preference. And I try to use MBTI, the thinker feeler dimension, to construct different customer and see what they behave in energy operation. This is like observation stage. So I built a large language model agent for a thinker PhD, like maybe some of you, 25-year-old student, like focusing on STEM research and life quantitative thinking. And the feeling dimension, I built like a 40-year-old actor, love novel, poetry, and they would like to make decisions with intuition. They don't like any analytical decisions. And the one people in the middle, the grandma, and I say it's a realist. So it's a mix of thinker and the feeler. So grandma, they don't have a formal math training, but they have longer, like yearly experience in running small business in finance. So they understand how to do the computation. They also have their daily life. Some decisions are maybe emotional, some decisions are rational. So this is actually just 3 personas, 3 categories. And when I started this experiment, I was not expecting they can work. I just want to observe how large language model behave. The result is like before the reasoning model, like starting from this year, we have many reasoning model. And all the old, like previous model last year, they have very big variance for the large language model output. So when I ask, we just prompt say, you need to role play this thing with this prompt, the performance is very like, it's not actually useful. We see big variance and unstable comments, and they don't understand the problem. But after the reasoning model, starting from O1 preview, and now we have O2, O3, we also have Grok, and we have the latest Llama model and also DeepSeek. So all those reasoning model, the variance is much more smaller. They can understand the problem better. They can follow the constraint actually much better when we try to do the role play to understand edge customer. So all my simulation now are built on the O1 preview, the latest reasoning model, and we see some positive signal to power the human simulator with large language model. So let me get into more detail. The first observation I have is like the cluster of the end customer preference. So what I do is like, after I prompt the large language model to role play thinker, feeler, I just do a high dimension embedding of all their repeated response. So I have all those dots, and I do a k-means cluster to figure out what is the main category, main theme of their decision. Very interestingly, I find the thinker's decision focused on optimistic maximizer, strategy trader, and the fearless decision is emotional investor, mindful planner, and the realist decision is in between. So this cluster and the preference make me feel like maybe they do have a good separation of different human preference. And also this cluster works for the latest reasoning model, but all the early version like GPT 3.5, the cluster is a mix of together. No matter you prompt it as thinker or feeler, all the high dimension embedding, they don't have a different, like a clear preference cluster.
Can I just want to make sure I'm following correctly.
Yeah.
So you start out creating these 16 personas,
Mhm.
right? And then you created a prompt for each persona,
Yeah.
which is part of the prompt that goes into an LLM. And then do you create like a daily energy consumption routine? Is that the output of the
I see.
LLM?
I'll explain the experiment in detail in the next page.
I see.
Yeah, but here is more like the role play 3 persona. So you can think of like, I just prompt large language model to role play those 3 persona. Yeah, I didn't expand it to massive persona yet. I want to focus on one dimension and to see how it behaves.
So, okay, just focusing on 3.
3, it is.
And what you're showing us is a clustering in some high dimensional space from
It
the
is.
encoding?
Yeah, this is a technique for high dimension setting, and we can visualize the clusters.
So
And-
the coloring is based on your designed persona or based on, for example, you have a k-means clustering and you just interpret the cluster afterwards.
So I put 3 circles.
Yeah.
These 3 circles are actually the persona dots.
Okay,
And the color are actually the k-means they are closer distance.
I
So,
see,
and I extract the keyword for each cluster, find out their decision in this way.
I see.
Yeah, so basically I prompt they to role play this kind of customer for energy operation. I'll explain later, it's a battery operation problem. And then they give response about why I operate my battery in this way, why I like this thing. And you can think of like PhD's response is usually try to do maximization, optimization. And the fearless decision is like my intuition of operating battery is like this. And we categorize it in the emotional or mindful planner thoughts. And the PhD is like, today the electricity price is blah, 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 and I want to discharge my battery. And it's a very rational comments and it's clustered by opportunistic maximizer.
So you're kind of showing us what the final result is, and then you're
Yes.
gonna walk through all the details.
Yeah, so
Okay,
this
good.
is the bigger picture we find it work.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
let me explain the experiment in detail.
Okay.
So the big picture is we find the AI agent exhibit heterogeneous preference when role play different personas. And let me explain the experiment in detail. So every day I should do a 20-day experiment, and every day I will tell the large language model what's our experiment, what's your persona, and what's your current state. And I will go through a thought, action, reflection, journal process. It's like the whole prompt have multiple segments. So experiment is like this. You can also think about like you are also participating in this experiment. It's like maybe like the Vermont idea. I'm giving you a free home battery, and I will take the battery after the 20 days. So you are able to use your battery for 20 days, and then you can use it to charge, discharge energy, and whatever you like. And we want to see how the energy customer use battery. To make this case more interesting, I change it to a dynamic electricity price. So every day the electricity price will be different. And we tell the customer the distribution of the price just to make it easier for them to make decision. So you can imagine the prompt is like, now you are participated in an experiment to run your home battery. And by the end of the 20 days, we will take out the experiment. And during the experiment, you can make decision like you need to think about, make a thought, like your thought of the experiment, the current state of your energy, the current state of the price, how are you going to use your storage? And you need to take action. Every day you will decide whether I want to charge storage, discharge storage, or do nothing. And you will do reflection. We just prompt large language model to step by step do this thing, because there are many historical experiments showing this kind of chain of thoughts guide large language model to think more logically rather than give a very simple prompt. And they will do reflection. Does your action help your goal? And they will write a journal, document your thoughts, help you future strategy. And the journal is in the memory. So the memory is basically all the reflection and the journal text, and we carry it over day. So if you think of like some dynamic program or reinforcement learning structure, the memory, the history, and the history action, state of charge, the energy, like representing the amount of energy in the storage, the price, these are all the states that the agent have. And the agent can take action to charge, discharge, or do nothing. So this is like the whole operation experiment. And for example, day one price is $5. Agent can choose to do something. Then when we move to day two, in day one, they choose to have their storage SOC like charge. Then they will have their energy also increase. And in the end of the day, they have history of all their previous action, and then they will just end the experiment by that.
And is the action taken once per day?
It is. We try to make it simple. We are thinking like the dynamic price we are trying to push in electricity market is more like hourly price or even shorter price.
Yeah.
But we are worried AI agent may not be able to make super quick decision. And we try to keep a simple experiment framework and see what's happening before we move to more practical setting.
Okay.
Sorry, maybe I missed something here. What are the constraints? Is there some target energy I must do?
So in the experiment design, we will explain like now your energy is 5 kWh. Your battery have 0 to 10 kWh, that's your capacity. And you have your constraints like every time you can only charge 1 MWh or discharge 1 MWh or do nothing. So we try to make the decision very simple so that the large language model can understand it better. The idea is like if in a simple experiment, large language model cannot do anything good, then there's a negative signal like we will be able to use it to do some more experiments.
So it's more like a storage arbitrage.
It is, I'll explain the model.
I see.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. So the observation of the agent will be the current price and the current SOC.
Yeah.
And also the history.
The memory of their
So
previous.
the memory including like the history price and
Yeah.
the
it is.
SOC trajectory.
It is.
So does this kind of agent have the ability to do some little forecast of the future price or something?
They can, but they don't have to. It's like this, it depends on the agent decision. Because we just ask it to role play different customer. And they can decide, maybe PhD want to forecast the price. But some people make intuitive decision, they don't want to do the forecast. So these are all the flexibility to the LLM, like they can do that. Yeah, it's possible they will solve a math problem. So let me explain the math problem in detail. It's like, it's a very simple like stochastic program. Objectives to maximize battery profit. And it's a linear cost like we have the electricity price multiplied with the net output of the battery. And when the storage is charging energy, they will pay the energy price. When storage discharge, they will get paid. So we maximize the expected profit. And the constraint you just comment like we have state of charge, the battery energy dynamics over the day. We also have capacity limits. Energy should have upper bound, lower bound. And in this setting, it goes from 0 to 10 kWh. So we can solve this math problem in a very simple setting. And because I make it very simple, like each time they can only discharge 1 kWh. So I actually have two mathematical optimal policy. The two policy. First is dynamic program, we can get the optimal policy. Second is a greedy policy with very intuitive decision. So the greedy policy is just to buy low, sell high. So every time this is the state of charge constraint, it's like the energy stored in the battery. By running multiple experiments, I saw the average state of charge is actually very flat when they choose to make a buy low, sell high decision over time. And this is the accumulated reward of the objective profit over those 20-day experiment. And if you do an optimal policy, you know that by the end of the day, your battery will be removed. So the optimal strategy is to buy low, sell high at the beginning, and then sell all the energy to the end at the end. So this is the optimal strategy. So we have two mathematical policy, and we have large language model role play different persona. Then I'll explain how we see something match in this.
So this is just a benchmark to compare against the.
This is a mathematical benchmark.
So if you like for the dynamic programming, if you just like add in the objective, you have the penalty for the SOC state change difference, like for example, the initial state and the final state. There's a big difference right here, right? So you can see that the final SOC is 0 for your optimal policy. And if you put it into your objective function, it should be totally different from this one, right?
So
I mean, that's because your time horizon of your optimization is just 24 hours.
it is.
Yeah.
So this is the finite stage, like a dynamic program. If you do infinite stage, that's a different decision.
Yeah.
And overall, we just create two mathematical benchmark, and we want to see how large language model behave. Yeah, and this mathematical model may not be what large language model is running. And we are just trying to see what's the distance between large language models decision and those two benchmark. Otherwise, we don't know if large language model gives some random decision. It's very difficult to evaluate where they are.
Yeah, my question is from the left part, you just show the objective and the constraints.
Yeah.
In the right part, you list the results of two policies.
It is.
So my question is, what these two policies do in the calculation part? Why do they cause different results?
Oh, I see. So the first optimal policy is like we can solve dynamic programs optimal policy by enumerating all the state of this problem. And the principle is buy low, sell high, and sell everything. And I just give random price trajectory. So you can see the shadow, the area part. And we can see when they do this behavior, the mean SOC and the mean accumulated reward is like here. And the arrow part is like the percentile of different price trajectories. So it's like a different decision policy under a random price. They will give a different reward and SOC. And here is like we just keep to buy low, sell high all the time to the end of the experiment. and we will get this reward. It's much lower than optimal reward. And the SOC is almost mostly stable from this behavior. So these two are actually just two decision policy benchmark. And I try to use this benchmark to understand LLM's decision.
Yes, so you mean that the right true figures are not the result.
They are so this is the optimal decision result for this stochastic program. This is suboptimal. It's like a heuristic decision, always try to buy low, sell high, but not actually maximize the end reward.
So the optimal policy on the top there is exactly the solution to that mathematical program, particularly when big T equals 20.
20, yeah, it's a finite horizon.
And then the bottom one is not a solution to that program, it's just some rule-based
It
idea.
is very heuristic, like I just see low price, then I charge, high price, then I discharge. So I say it's a buy low, sell high decision.
Heated discussion here, but I will let the speaker move on, so we can save time for the discussion
Sure.
at the end.
Yeah, so let me show the interesting part. The first conclusion is I find the thinker decision very close to DP optimal policy. So the right hand side is a state of charge mean value of the experiment. And the thinker is a blue curve. So they first buy low, sell high, and the end the thinker sell everything to the end. The red curve is the DP optimal policy, and we can see their decision are very close. The realist, the grandma is the second, very close. And we can see the reward is also thinker very close to DP optimal policy. Realist also second highest, but also very close. The grandma is close. And another conclusion I find the filler is very close to the greedy policy, just like a buy low, sell high all the time. The green curve is the filler. So this is like when large language model role play PhD grandma and actor, and they charge discharge battery in a different way. And we find that they match some policy design. So I find this result is interesting. And a next decision, like I run more experiment, I try to change the price trajectory to be hard, medium, or easy task. By saying hard, I mean, if you just buy low, sell high with a very simple heuristic, you won't be able to make a very high profit because the price may be super spiky and you cannot catch the high price. By saying easy, I mean, the price may have many high value. So in that price, if you just buy low, sell high, you may also get very close to the optimal decisions results. So we see a spread of the decision. It's like the AI agent behave more optimally and less variable in simpler market scenarios. So in the easy price trajectory, we see the reward are all higher for all the customer. And we see also the variance actually getting larger in a harder price scenario. So this is a simple test. But the conclusion is we find some good signal for large language model. Yeah.
How do you define like a harder price scenario? Is this one? Yeah.
So the physical meaning of harder price scenario is like the price may be low all the time and only high for sometimes. And in that way, you need to manage your storage very carefully when to sell all the energy to the end. And the easy price scenario is like the price may be mostly high. So when you buy low, sell high, you can make very intuitive decision. And the measure I create is just like those two policy I have. And when the two policy have larger difference, it's a harder scenario. When the two policy have smaller difference, then it's an easy price scenario. So it's just like a buy low, sell high strategy. That's a greedy strategy. And the optimal strategy, they have very close reward, then the price scenario is easy. So this is like the task difficulty observation. And then people may say, what are you going to do with this agent? I add a blackout in the middle of the day, and I want to see how those large language model role play after the blackout. So this is the reaction in the blackout day. The red curve is after we have blackout, we have comparison trajectory. And the normal is a black curve. So the blackout happening here. After blackout, all characters choose to discharge their energy for their home usage. And by the end of the experiment, we see the end state of charge is different. So PhD end state of charge very close to without blackout case. Grandma, they spread, they have more end of state of charge. And after even more, like they have more end state of charge. So this is a distribution of end state of charge, SOC. And this is just a mean value of the endpoint. So this means
So the power out lasts for the
Just-
later trade,
just
just
one.
1 day, okay, I see.
yes. So just in this day, we have blackout. After that, everything's normal.
Have you presented this work to any actors?
To the actors,
Yeah,
I know that. So I don't want to say I don't have any biased opinions. I just present the result from the large language model. Yeah, and I don't want to say this is 100% credible result. The good things like we observe heterogeneous behavior, we observe some change of their preference. So I want to say this tool is helpful. But I don't want to say actually will truly do this, grandma will truly do this. That's not a ground truth. Yeah. So let me understand the reason. The good thing with large language model is they can explain why they do that. I prompted in the day, like on the blackout. Then PhD would say in the blackout day, they discharge all energy due to the blackout. And they comment, we'll reassess energy level, market condition once the blackout ends and adjust strategy to maximize energy in the remaining days. That match very well for their SOC trajectory. Like they will just remain profit maximization, sell all the energy. Like by the end, they don't want to leave energy. But grandma and actor, they do have more energy, like stored in the battery by the end. And when we try to understand the reason, grandma say, we'll adjust my strategy, ensure we have enough energy for emergency while still capitalizing high prices. So the reason matched the decision. And the actor, the word is very, I'm so lovely story. It feels like, yeah, it's very like emotional, like a poem, like I prompted to say they love poem. And they just do a very intuitive, like intuition charts I have. So it's like the decision also shift more. So overall we see like just two comments. One is like their preference change in the black hole experiment. Another is like we do see their reasoning match with their decision change. So this is like more empirical evidence. So let me quickly summarize this part. This is more like an empirical study. And here we observe heterogeneity. Agents exhibit heterogeneous customer preference, role play different persona. And we have credibility. Agents behave more optimally, less variable in simpler scenarios. And we have some behavior discovery in low frequency, high impact events. It's very difficult to collect data for blackouts, but with large language model, we may be able to understand the customer better. And overall, I don't want to say we will use large language model to replace any human experiment. We just want to use it to help us better understand the energy operation, energy customer, and this may be helpful, save us some cost when we try to run some true price experiment or battery experiment. So this is just some positive signal for this paper, like we are doing it on arXiv now. Next, I will move to the second topic for the aggregation and network access. So yeah, probably have 20 minutes.
10 minutes is perfect, but you can go 15 minutes.
20 minutes, sorry. Okay, 15 minutes, I see.
Yeah.
So here the background is like we have all the energy customer here, rooftop solar, battery, and we have aggregator aggregating all the power. So they will control, for example, if you have Tesla Powerwall, you will have a control signal, like Tesla, they may centrally schedule your battery charge discharge, and you will have a financial signal. This is like you will receive credit saying, join my aggregation program, and I will pay you for those kind of amount.
many graduates of eCal work on that team at Tesla that does what you just described.
Oh, that's great, yeah, it is. And the aggregator will try to participate in the wholesale. So this is the financial flow, whether they can aggregate solar, sell to the wholesale electricity market, and try to also maybe it's a bi-direction. They may also try to do emergency load reduction, adjust all the battery together, try to have a bi-direction financial flow in the electricity market. And we see this trend is actually starting from third order 22 from 2020. And in this order, they allow distributed energy resource to participate in all kinds of services. So anyways, like if aggregator can do emergency load reduction, can sell energy, we hope to remove all the market policy barrier allow those companies to run this business. And after that, we see many companies like the Tesla team, Sunrun, and the different like Google Smart Home. They are all trying to establish their own virtual power plant as an aggregator to try to buy and sell energy in the wholesale and schedule their customer more flexibly. And we also saw this year, like the free battery example in Texas, some company are give free battery to customer to use it. So we anticipate a future aggregation model is like a multiple aggregator will exist, and the customer can choose to join different aggregation. And we will have a distribution system operator that is a power grid operation system. And they will try to keep their own customer running the power flow. So all the red arrow are actually the power flow managed by the system operator. So this is the big picture. But the problem is like all the aggregator customer power flow will also go through the power system operator. So this is because all the customer, they're actually at the end side of the distribution grid. And those red arrow, like different arrow of their power, are managed by the grid, like to the system. So although we can say we participate in Tesla's virtual power grid, but Tesla don't have the power grid, they cannot manage your power. Tesla need to interact with operator in some way to say, this is the power we hope to like run in the system. And they have a coordination needed at the aggregator and the operator scale. So this coordination is the main problem of my following part. And we try to explore how the operator and the aggregator can coordinate in a case like we have multiple aggregator share the distribution network. And the main network limits reliability concern are voltage and line thermal capacity limits over the distribution grid. So the simple example is like some people join Tesla Powerwall. Some people may join Google Smart Home aggregation or with their EV for the Ford aggregation. And both of them told the operator they want to inject or withdraw power at certain bus. The operator would say like, should I give the access to you or to you? How should we operate everything together to make sure the power flow is stable in the network? And they don't want to have any blackout because of the voltage concern or because of the network thermal capacity limit issues. So this is like the big background. We need the coordination. So let me give more like a modeling detail. We propose a market-based dynamic operating envelope. It's like each bus, we try to partition the access for injection access. I use K for different aggregator and also for DSO itself. And at each bus, we also have a withdrawal access. So each bus, different aggregator can decide how many I want to bid for injection, how many I want to bid for withdrawal. And we have a network access interval. So it's like at each bus, the aggregator K may get an interval from like withdrawal to injection. And the idea is like with a dynamic operating envelope, each bus we will have a changing maybe over day or hourly envelope. And we partition all the access to different aggregator. This is the interval they get for different aggregator. The big picture is like we want operator run a forward market to allocate dynamic operating envelope. It can be a day ahead or hour ahead market. And after that, all the aggregator need to stay within the network interval in the real time. The good thing is we will decouple the operation. So we no longer need any real-time communication between operator and aggregator saying, if you two both inject, you will violate the network voltage limits or thermal capacity limits. Because in the day, they already partition and consider all the scenarios. And the real time is just like every day, everyone stay within the interval, it'll be good. So let me give you a more practical example. It's like the parking lot. Parking space is like a branch of space. And we can just allocate the space one-to-one to different customers. And this can be a data head allocation. After that, in the real time, everyone stay within the parking space. Then we won't violate the parking capacity limits. And we try to bring that kind of idea in the power network in the distribution grid to see how do we operate that. So this is the background of this problem. And let me explain how to implement that with the model part. So it is a complex optimization. And we try to maximize the social welfare. It's like economic efficiency will allocate the network limits. So objective will maximize the benefit of aggregator. Aggregator will say how much I want to pay for certain withdrawal or injection access, and they will construct a function. And we will have a cost of the system operator by providing some total injection or total withdrawal. What's the system operation cost to minimize the cost? In the constraint, we will clear both the injection and the withdrawal access, partition the total pie to different aggregator and also to DSO itself, just like this picture. And also clear the withdrawal access, partition the total to different aggregator and also to customer themselves. And we will have a constraint like the network constraint. This network constraint is robust. It's like under all possible operator and aggregator's injection level within the limits. So it's like for an aggregator, they are given the interval C underline, C overline. And for all possible injection within this interval, we want to make sure this constraint is satisfied. And also similar, if the DER for the system operator have any uncertainty in the system uncertainty interval, we also want to make sure this constraint is satisfied. So it's an infinite dimension constraint. It's robust optimization. The good thing is like we formulate all the voltage and the capacity limits of the distribution grid with a linearized power flow model, linearized disk flow model. This makes the robust optimization easy to solve. We can find the worst case by writing the robust counterpart directly. And the whole program is like a convex optimization with linear constraint. And we take the dual variable as locational marginal price for injection and withdrawal access. So this is the design we are trying to establish over the power network. So this is the model setting. And the good thing is like we need the aggregator bid with the concave function. And we want to construct a cost function that is convex to make sure the optimization is convex. And the benefit of convexity is we do have a lot of like good property with the pricing scheme we design. I will just explain more quickly because we are running out of time for the property part. So aggregator will construct their bid, saying how much they want to buy for certain injection withdrawal. And the operator will receive this bidding function, try to clear the optimization and send out network access to the aggregator and also the price for the operator. And after that, aggregator will follow the allocated network access and get the payment. So this is like the interaction. So this is exclusive design. We also later extend to a risk-based way. The risk-based way is like a parking lot, not selling parking space, but selling parking permits. They may oversell the parking permits, but they control the probability of the capacity violation to be within a very low probability. And then we can still run the parking lot very normally. It's just like all solar, they are not generating all the time, or people are not using the network all the time. So risk-based way can improve the efficiency. And we prove three propositions with the convex optimization design and the marginal pricing scheme. We first show the operator receive enough payment, and it's like a revenue adequacy. We operator running this auction. And we also show the individual rationality. Every aggregator's profit maximization match this central optimization. This comes directly with the strong convexity property. And we also have price monotonicity. This is proved because of the matrix of the linearized power flow have special property. And we find the allocation price is now decreasing from the root bus to the lead bus. So for the time limited simulation, I'll explain very quick. It's basically just validate what I explained just now in the propositions. So first, in the probabilistic way, we change the probability of violation from 1% network violation to 20% violation. And these are all risk-based way. And we see the aggregator's surplus is much more higher. This is a robust way, it's exclusive. And we see the surplus is much lower under different like scenarios. But overall aggregator has non-negative profit. These are also non-negative. And we do have a 20% gain if we tolerate less than 1% constraint violation risk. And we have the operator's revenue adequacy. It's just like also we see operator's profit is non-negative in this operation. And also the big increase of operator surplus. And so it's just like with risk-based way, more people can use it for, and everybody got happier in this win-win case if we control the risk well. So last is the price monotonicity. We show actually it's like a 1-for-1 bus system, a small distribution network. And we see from the bus 1 to bus 32, is like here from bus 1 to bus 32, the price is monotonically like increasing for the withdrawal price. And we see different aggregator get different network access. Some aggregator want injection in the bus around this area. Some aggregator want withdrawal in some different locations. So it's just like a simple simulation to validate how this allocation would work and how the price will show up in the distribution power grid. So let me quickly summarize. The second part is like we propose a power network access allocation mechanism to multiple aggregator and then decouple the operation of operator and the aggregator. Yeah, so that is like the overall of my presentation, and we have multiple papers here. We can get into more detail if you have any questions. Thank you.
I think you made it in 10 minutes. That's perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, I try to control the time, but maybe some part is running super quick. Free to like ask any questions or there are some people to follow up with details.
Thanks, Song. So I'll play the role of discussant to help manage questions, and yeah, thank you for this talk. It's I first met Song at TDSI when she was a master's student. So yeah, you were a star student in that class. You really stood out, and it's very cool, like every several years to sort of hear you and watch you grow. It's yeah, it's kind of wild that you're a Professor Chen now. It's amazing how fast that's happened. So anyways, I've done a lot of, on the first part, I've done a lot of work in or controls people sometimes do work in what they call hardware in the loop, right? Where you've got some feedback control system, and then when you test it, you will basically test your controlling simulation, but the physical thing you're controlling, you'll put that in the loop, like a hardware in the loop. You're also doing HL, but it's like human in the loop, but the human is represented by the LLM. So it's kind of like it's kind of cool how it's like a very normal, traditional, familiar idea. It's just the LLM is playing the human, which is pretty cool. And then, yeah, second part about economics now. So anyways, I'll allow others to ask questions. Any questions?
So you created a free persona, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know if there's any research that was done to create a broad range of persona that potentially represents, all of the different personas that you can have, and that when they run simulations, that show that it represents well people in general. So do you know if there's this kind of data set with the prompts for each persona and maybe different prompts? Or one persona, different prompts?
It is.
And then,
Yeah, so there are some personal bank and they create massive characters. I think in some game design, like the NPC, like they have a lot of persona you can choose from. But I don't think they validate that with human data. So basically they want to show a variety of persona large language model can show. But it's very difficult to match the large language model output with some human output. I think some researchers try to do that in some social and economic experiment, but basically the persona power bank is easy to explore. Yeah, so I would say here the persona is just 3, like from 0 to 3. And it's very easy to extend, like you need to just run more simulation to test more. And the good thing is so we see it's very easy to run simulation online, and we can save more cost if we want to test a variety of all those personas. I also talked to OpenAI, ChatGPT, to see if they told me they have similar experiment. So it's like when they design ChatGPT, they set up different persona representing different customer and test their own system. So it's like they don't have any theoretical guarantee saying this will work or not, but this will give them feedback to say, suppose I provide output in this way or change my pricing scheme to a different way, give them reference information. So this is an idea, I think, for some computer science people, they find it familiar.
if you go to the problem formulation in the game.
In the game?
Yeah, the charging, the control problem.
You mean the mathematical formulation?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So it feels like the thinker, their utility function is defined as the expectation.
And it feels like the feelers utility is like that, but plus like a regularization term, for instance, like you're adding like a multiplier, like a penalty times maybe the norm between like different states of charge. So because I know people in economics have like, they kind of explicitly write different people's problems.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you've thought about like, you know, because these are AI agents, they're kind of black boxy, but
It is.
what would be the like kind of, I don't know if you thought about maybe explicit
Yeah, that's a good comment.
objective functions or
It is.
maybe other constraints that they're facing.
Yeah, that's a good comment. So a quick response is like, we can take all the large language model response. We can use some inverse optimization, inverse reinforcement learning. We can learn the optimization problem. So this is one experiment we can definitely run. But here, I just want to show there are two closer categories to help us understand it. The thing is like when we prompt large language model every day, we actually don't know they are running optimization or not. We just told them to role play people, make decision. And I agree with what you explained, and what I do here is just to use some mathematical model to help us understand the human behavior. And by constructing utility function, traditional economics also just write out an optimization explicitly what's your utility. And also it's just a reference point to say, given this model, we may be able to understand customer in this way. And suppose I change the price, what will they behave? It's like this model is useful, but we know this model is not true. It's just a reference point for us to understand their behavior and decision.
I kind of thinking something similar, so.
Yeah, thank you for your question.
I'll ask a question about the second part. So, you know, I was thinking, is there any reason that we have to think about this at the distribution circuit level?
So the thing is, all the resources, the rooftop solar, home battery, and the distribution grid. And
Sure.
this is the first, the location of resource. The second reason is the transmission grid that is in the wholesale market. We have real-time operation.
Yeah.
So it's not dispatched with an interval. Here, I
Yeah,
would say dispatch with the interval. In the transmission grid, we dispatch at a point.
Yeah.
You have to generate exactly at certain point in the real-time dispatch. Because power grid is like the electron transmit with light speed, and we want to maintain real-time power generation and matching each other exactly. But for distribution grid, it's very difficult to say. We have massive distribution grid, so many nodes, and we want to send out like make sure all rooftop solar distribute precisely to one point. I think that's super challenging. So this interval is just to give a much more loose coordination, but reduce the computation burden.
Yeah.
The ideal world is like, suppose we have a super intelligent computer control everything. We can dispatch all rooftop solar, home battery just at that point, but that's very difficult over so many customers. And this is like a loose coordination. We decouple the decision for operator and aggregator.
So the notion of a distribution system operator at the moment is, I mean, it's just like a intellectual academic idea, right? Or do you know, are there some places where a DSO could exist to perform this sort of function, or does exist today, or there's talk of doing it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we don't have distribution system operator that's a separate unit yet. It's more like, now I actually try to talk to PG&E, Pacific Gas, like they are running both some transmission, but more distribution grid to our customer.
Yeah.
And what they do is very traditional. It's a planning problem. They plan to say your maximum solar no larger than 5 kilowatt certain capacity, then you can install that. So that's a super loose coordination. And I'm trying to move it to data head and hour ahead. So I was hoping PG&E, South California Edison, this kind of operation company can maybe this idea may be able to help them. But I don't know, like when we push this to industry practice, there may be some new problem comes in. Yeah, but basically now the industry problem is like some households say, I want to build my EV charger in my home, and I send a bill to PG&E. PG&E do a planning test and say, I cannot provide your withdrawal access because you exceed our network limits in your bus. So I will just reject that. But in practice, we know there are multiple households, they don't need to charge their battery at the same time. So this kind of real-time day-ahead operation can help to allocate more customer to use the network and also do not violate the network limits. So this is in the middle of planning and real-time operation.
I have a question maybe on the next page. I think, can you articulate more on the function phi or phi, 5K,
Yeah.
the benefit of DRA?
Yeah.
Conceptually what it is.
It is. So this actually create a simple figure. This is a fee function, and this is a withdraw access. They will want to withdraw 50 kilowatt or 200 kilowatt, and they want to pay different price for different withdraw access. And this different color representing the rooftop solar. Some customer may have more rooftop solar, so they want less withdraw access. They don't want to pay that much. And some customer, they have just 0.1 of their expectation of solar generation. And they want to pay more for the withdraw access because they depend more on the grid like withdraw power. Yeah, so this fee function is created by the optimization of the aggregator. And I have another paper, we're just talking about fee function and the optimal value. And the C-bar-C underline is the parameter of your network access. Then aggregator can come up with what's my optimal value, how much I want to pay for certain withdraw and injection, depending on their operation strategy.
Yeah, I was thinking if as an aggregator, I know more about the end user customer, I can like pre-solve some optimization problem.
Yeah.
Is this phi function exogenous or endogenous in this kind of process?
I see. So I would say in this feeding process, this fee function is like the provided parameter.
Yeah.
So it's not like we will solve the fee function from
I
this
see.
optimization.
I see.
But when the aggregator try to construct their bid, then they should internalize all the operation condition, their forecast ability to figure out what's the fee function in a separate problem. So some people also formulate two-stage optimization at a lower level. Here, I don't want to get all the decision into the one paper. We just want to talk about if this scheme would work when everybody wants the network access and how we split the pie to different customers.
Is there a
Cool.
question on Zoom? Let's see here.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I think Professor Yu Zhang just to say thank you.
Professor Yu Zhang from
Yeah.
Santa Cruz.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's great. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
yeah. let's-
And we will have next speaker, but unfortunately we will host her on Zoom, but it's a very interesting topic. Sophie Hall, who is a PhD candidate at ETH Zurich, she will present titled Real-Time Control for Critical Infrastructure in Times of Scarcity. And she will present basically a technique she developed during her PhD called Game Theoretic MPC. That is, bridge the two branch of game theoretic analysis and model predictive control. Some of us work on one branch, some of us work on the other, but she will her work bridge these two branch. And also she will talk about a very exciting application she worked on, that is for the demand flexibility at Google's data center, which is quite interesting. So I welcome you to join and stay tuned for our further notification. Thank you very much, and we will end the live stream, but we can continue